So with Football Manager 2022 now available to play, a lot of you guys are starting saves with teams who don't really have big budgets to get things started off. So today's video is all about trying to find you some of the best free agents in the game right at the very start. So I have created a save file with over 400,000 players, 156,000 of which are available to sign on a free contracts. I've whittled it down to 10 players that I think for a few different budgets would be great pickups right at the start of the game. But before we get into these top 10 players, make sure you do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here to make sure you stay up to date with all of my latest content for FM22. Loads of it coming out in the next few weeks and months. The first one, of course, is Dani Alves. Look at this guy. He is absolutely fantastic still for 38 years old. I mean, he's 38, but his pace is still 13, which is mental. Like, he is fast. Of course, he has some really good technical attributes too, but it's the mental attributes that are the absolute pinnacle of Dani Alves. He is so good, and he's also got perfectionist personality, so even if you don't plan on playing him, this guy is the perfect tutor for your young players. And to be fair, in this save file, I'm the Man City manager, and I've compared him to Kyle Walker here. And it's not even, I mean, Kyle Walker is better, but it's not, I wouldn't say there's that much in it. Sticking with the defence and kind of on a Man City theme as well, a 30-year-old Mangala is available at centre-back on a free transfer. And I think this guy, you'd be stupid not to try and pick him up basically. He's 6'2", 15 heading, 15 jumping reach, 15 strength. He is a beast from set pieces, and actually, he does have some really good mental attributes as well. His personality is resolute, which is one of the best, so he'd also end up being a very good tutor for young players. But his attributes are still good, and he's still 30 years old, which means he's still got a good few years left to be in a decent team. And again, I'll compare him this time to Ruben Diaz, which maybe is a little bit unfair given that he is one of the best centre-backs in the game, but fundamentally, Mangala is not that much worse than Ruben Diaz. Like, he would still do a good job in a top division. But maybe you're thinking Dani Alves and Mangala are a little bit too expensive. Well, here's this guy, Boubacar Sana, who is a 26-year-old Gambian centre-back who fundamentally is solid. Only 6 foot, but does have 16 heading, 14 jumping reach and 15 strength, so is fantastic in the air. Also got pretty decent pace at around 13, can keep up with most swingers and strikers, I would say. And where they matter, his mentals are actually really solid. I love good mental attributes in players, and all 3 of the players so far have got solid mentals. If you've never heard of him before, that's because he's probably playing in a league you're not too familiar with, has played a lot of his career in Denmark and in Belgium, but maybe it's time to bring him to wherever you're playing. Before we get any further though, remember, try and sign these players quickly because transfers move quickly. And if you want to see all the live updates for real life transfers, then the best place to do that is of course the OneFootball App, the sponsors of today's video. It is the best football app out there to keep up to date with all the latest football news, scores and updates from around the world. And you can keep up to date with all of the biggest and latest transfer news on their transfer section of the app. It's really useful. I used it a lot this past summer to keep up to date with some of the big moves and news from around the world. I was certain that Kane was going to move to Tottenham. OneFootball said he wasn't, and then he didn't. So I guess OneFootball was right. Either way, you can download the app from the top line of the description for absolutely free, and it really helps me and the channel out if you do. Moving a little further up the pitch into the centre of midfield, we've got Brazilian Fernando, who most recently was playing in China, but has spent a lot of his time playing for Spartak Moscow. He's a centre mid, but does have some really high attributes for technique and free kick taking. So he's your free kick specialist, probably corner specialist as well, I'd imagine. I mean, corners are only 10, but he's obviously got a good technique and good dead ball situation with good free kicks. So I reckon he'd be quite good from corners. Unfortunately, physicals are not really much to write home about, and his mentals are nowhere near as good as the players previously mentioned. But Fernando is not quite that higher level of player as the ones we've already spoken about. He is still a great pickup for absolutely free and will do a great job in most teams. The next one I want to highlight is Mitchell Donald. Now, I'm highlighting him because he holds a special place in my heart because he was a talisman player when I played on FIFA 14 doing the career mode with Roda JC. He was superb. Since then, he's been all over the place, Serbia, Russia and Turkey. But Mitchell Donald is definitely a player that you could pick up. He's maybe more of a League 1, League 2, maybe Championship level player, but certainly for you guys playing a little bit lower down, grab Mitchell Donald on a free, you will not regret it. And to be fair, there's not really a weakness in his game. For his level, there's not really a weakness in his game. All of his attributes that are important to the roles that he plays are in the low teens, which is kind of what you want. But maybe you want a little bit more. Maybe you want Nabil Bentaleb. Bentaleb is the Algerian 26-year-old centre midfielder. I'm surprised he's not actually got a club. Recently playing for Schalke, was a pretty decent player for Schalke as well. Obviously was at Tottenham for quite a while as a youngster. Maybe didn't quite fulfill his potential that he had when he was at Tottenham, but he is still a great pickup on a free transfer. And being 26 years old, you could probably get him on a decent contract, and he's going to improve maybe a little bit more as he reaches the peak of his career. The only downside is, because he's been at Schalke and Tottenham, his wages might be a little bit high and he might demand a bit, but he will certainly get work permits because he does play for Algeria. But for me, the best midfielder available on a free transfer is Paulinho. Former Tottenham player before he went to China. Actually, was he at Barcelona as well? Let's double check this. He was at Barcelona for a little while as well. So, I mean, this guy's played all over the place, and for 32 years old, still looks fantastic, and I reckon could do a job in the Premier League, in the top flight in Spain, France, Italy, all that stuff. So if you want someone for that sort of level, Paulinho is available, and I think you'd be silly not to pick him up. Moving further up the pitch though, Gaston Ramirez is available. 30 years old, 43 caps for Uruguay. And I think he can still do a job, you know. His technicals are still right up there. His physicals for a 30-year-old are still pretty solid. And his mentals aren't too bad either. The most important thing, though, is he is a perfectionist. So again, if you want someone to tutor your more attacking-minded young players, Gaston Ramirez is the man. And last season, he still played 25 games for Sampdoria in Serie A. So he is a top-level player still. He may be 30 years old, maybe on the decline, but still a top-level player. These next two, though, hear me out. Hear me out on them. These are probably for you guys who are struggling with work permits and you need someone who's not going to need a work permit. We'll start off with Hal Robson-Kanu, available on a free. And fundamentally, he's a good player still. Maybe not what he once was, but he can still do a job. After 5 years at West Brom, he's now left, but I think he would be a great player to pick up for an impact sub, and also, once again, to tutor your players. Resolute personality, and of course has seen and done it all in his career. I say done it all, he's not won the World Cup, has he? Or the Champions League, or... To be fair, he's not done much in his career, maybe. But the final pickup is definitely a man who's seen it all. And that's just because he has a mirror above his bed in his bedroom. It's a little weird and creepy, that Andy. But here he is, Andy Carroll. He's available on a free. And hear me out. You're not signing him to be your pacey striker. You've got 8 pace. You're not signing him to be a pacey striker. You're not signing him to be a 20-goal-a-season player. You're signing this man to be the guy who gets on the end of every single set piece, because he's got 17 heading, 18 jumping reach, and 18 strength. And at 6'4", no one's really going to beat him in the air. If you get a great corner tactic set up or a great free kick tactic set up, Andy Carroll will get his head on the end of those balls every single time. I mean, he won't do much else, but if you want someone to score from set pieces, if you build a really good set piece routine, you have to sign Andy Carroll, because he's one of the best players in the air in Football Manager. And that is my very quick list of the 10 best players that I think you can get on a free transfer in Football Manager 21. If you plan on picking any of these players up, let me know down in the comments section. And whilst you're down there, make sure you do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here for more FM22 content. Until next time, have a great one. Good luck playing the game, and I'll see you soon.